My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Please go ahead and share my latest Daily Caller article below. Free Julian Assange. I'll be starting a new channel devoted to my appreciation and love of the Second Amendment, and I might be starting that within the week, actually. And I might just start it to get people to subscribe for a couple of days, and then upload and introduce some really, really cool footage that is obviously law-abiding, obviously absolutely compliant and respectful of YouTube policies. I reached out to YouTube and they wrote back, and they were very, very nice and very supportive. So that's going to be fantastic. Devin Nunes, this is probably the biggest story, one of the biggest stories you'll hear today. And this is in the Daily Caller. Devin Nunes says Trump campaign might have been set up, predicts embarrassing outcome for FBI and DOJ. Now, this is really important, and there's a lot going on here that isn't said. I'll fill in the blanks. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes of California said the Trump campaign might have been set up by federal government back in 2016. This is May 15, 2018. If in 2016 you took a time, you went into you time traveled into the future and you read this article, what would you think? We are now finding out, piece by piece, step by step, the overall conspiracy. It's not conspiracy theory. You look at all the actors and players within all of this. James Clapper, ODNI chief, integral to leaking the Steele dossier to Jake Tapper, CNN, presides over or helps write an ODNI report with work from the FBI, NSA, and CIA, combined $35 billion budget. And when asked by Chuck Todd, the sleepy-eyed, do you have any evidence of Trump-Russia collusion? He goes, no, not at this time. That was in March of 2017. There could have been if there was evidence. No evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. And he and every single journalist at the Washington Post or MSNBC or all the media public relations firms for the Democratic National Committee, they all rely on James Clapper's report, the ODNI report. When asked about the ODNI report and asked about what the intelligence community knows, he says there's no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. That's James Clapper. Then there's the DHS report, which with an even more hilarious and comedic warranty disclaimer. So James Clapper presided over two intelligence reports as the Director of National Intelligence. The DHS and the ODNI report. Not one shred of evidence that Trump colluded with Russia, and that's what James Clapper stated. And furthermore, the $35 billion budget between the FBI, NSA, and CIA only amounted to high to moderate confidence. The NSA is moderately confident. They know what kind of underwear you're wearing. They're moderately confident because they're bluffing, and they have no evidence. So that's James Clapper. I can go on forever. James Comey lied about exonerating Clinton before her interview. He exonerated Clinton before her interview, but he lied under oath regarding that. James Comey also introduced a Steele dossier, allegedly to Obama first during that meeting with Trump, but to President Obama and incoming President Trump, President-elect Trump, without even verifying it. Then he gets upset, starts crying that he was fired, even though he presided over a criminal cover-up of Clinton's email investigation, where he said, oh yeah, 110 email chains were born classified. They weren't retroactively classified, they were born classified. In fact, she had 22 top secret emails, she had special access program intelligence. Hostile nations likely hacked her server. Yeah, all these things. But she didn't intentionally do it. So the Espionage Act, U.S. Code 793F, that deals with gross negligence, even if you say unintentional. And this is not a whistleblower. This is Hillary Clinton, who deleted 30-plus thousand emails because she was working half the time. Half of the 60,000 emails were 30,000 deleted emails. And half the time she was working on the Clinton Foundation. Those are the smoking gun emails. You don't even need smoking gun emails because every single time a donor gives something, they get a positive outcome. But James Comey said, oh yeah, she didn't intentionally do it. Then he was fired because it wasn't his job to do that. Rosenstein stated it was Loretta Lynch's job. Problem was she was speaking with Bill about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren a couple of days before the interview that Comey never even cared about. That's where we're at. It's such an overt cover-up. It's kind of funny. But then James Comey writes leaky, queasy memos because he's just golly gee. He's like the satanic Boy Scout. Golly gee whiz. He's so happy too when he can answer something honestly. He's like yes, yes. And when it's a clear-cut answer, when he's asked by the I think it was a congressman from Texas, he's like, were you aware of the Wiener laptop storing classified intelligence? And then Comey's like, yes, yes. So he answered honestly, he's so happy. He doesn't have to, make up a lie. And then the congressman goes, when Uma Abedin saw the Wiener laptop mixed with classified intelligence, did she commit a crime? Potentially. And then Comey goes, potentially. Potentially would have to be, she would have to have entered a seventh plane of existence, and she would have to have had some kind of LSD trip that we could have, monitored as an FBI agency. And he goes on and on. Of course, potentially. She didn't mean to do it. She didn't mean to commit crime, so she didn't. Okay. I can go on forever. Let me just finish this, and I'll go through each one of them. So I just went through Clapper and Comey, and then John Brennan meets with Harry Reid. Hilarious. Could you imagine that meeting? That was hilarious. And then, this is a profanity alert. Talk shit on Twitter in the most ludicrous fashion. Yo, cacatocracy! You will not destroy this country. That's our job. We've tried and desperately failed to destroy this country, and now you are Trump. I'm John Brennan, CIA director. I spied on the Senate and lied under oath, like my idiot colleague James Clapper. Nothing happened to us because we're too powerful, and the American people are peons. This is well known in the intelligence community. So that's John Brennan. But hold on one second. Let me just read this. Let's talk about how did this get started. You had Fusion GPS that was hired by the Democratic Party in the Clinton campaign to draw up a dossier on the president. Nunes fights. He's going to, of course, win his seat in 2018 in November. But he fights. You want someone who fights in life, who doesn't take abuse. He fights. I love Bernie, but he didn't fight. And he is being attacked by the same people he thought would gravitate towards him if he didn't fight. The establishment, this is a profanity. Well, no. This is just a message from the progressives who still watch me. And I love you and I thank you for still watching. A Trump supporter. I'm supporting Trump and I'm voting for Trump. The only two things that could make me never vote for Trump and not support Trump is if he arrests Julian Assange, or if the U.S. arrests Julian Assange, or if he engages in this quagmire, Vietnam, Iraq, Syria, regime change. And I'm 100% opposed to Trump, launching missiles at Syria. But this isn't what Obama did in Libya. And Clinton, that would have been the green light for Clinton to actually send, tens of thousands, if not thousands and thousands more. Clinton is a train wreck. Nothing she ever does works out, but she's always insulated. It's like a train wreck where the conductor of the train just gets on new trains and wrecks another train. I'm Hillary. I'm going to get on a new train. I wrecked this one. I'm going to get another one. I don't care. I own the train tracks. I own the passengers, and I own the train. I own, the train station. That's Hillary's, vantage point. She doesn't care how many trains she crashes. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Okay, so let's talk about how did this get started. You had Fusion GPS that was hired by the Democratic Party in the Clinton campaign to draw up a dossier on the president, or as the president was running for president. Nunes said Tuesday on Fox and Friends. What happened is that what happened in Glenn Simpson's testimony is he mentioned there was a source within the campaign. So I spoke about that a couple days ago in my segments. Glenn Simpson has already stated their source. Everybody knows who the source is. We're always the last to know. The American people are always the last to know. So, if you're watching from another country, just don't think you're alone in terms of being pooped on by your government. We've been getting pooped on for a long time. It's like one of our national pastimes is getting pooped on by the government. So we are the last to know, the intelligence community, and that's the good thing about one of the good things about Congress, even though we are last to know, is people like Devin Nunes. There's also some good Democrats too. Tulsi Gabbard's a great Democrat, but Devin Nunes fights for people in this instance. He fights for the truth, and the American people deserve to know the truth. We're the last ones to know the truth. Everybody knows who this mole is. Glenn Simpson knows, Kimberly Strassel knows, Devin Nunes knows, Trump knows. We'll find out very soon, almost certainly from the IG report, maybe sooner. This is Devin Nunes.
Out who was possibly on the inside of the Trump camp informing people on the outside.
Well, let's talk about how did this get started. So you had Fusion GPS that was hired by the Democratic Party in the Clinton campaign to draw up a dossier on the president, as the president was running for president. What happened with that is that in his testimony, he mentioned that there was a source within the campaign.
Glenn Simpson, who runs Fusion GPS.
Glenn Simpson said that in public, what was closed testimony, then it became public. Now he's confirmed that he was telling Congress the truth, which is probably a good idea. We believe he was telling the truth. And what we're trying to do is get the documents to figure out, did they actually have, what methods were used to open this counterintelligence investigation.
If that is true, if there is a spy,
and we don't normally believe he's telling the truth, but in this case, we think he's telling the truth.
You really have a problem with...
Well, it's not Glenn Simpson. What he did when he utilized what Glenn Simpson did at Fusion GPS was not try to inform the American public. Then Devin Nunes says, I think if the campaign was somehow set up, I think that would be a problem, right? Of course, if there's somehow meetings that occurred and this was a setup, because we've yet to see credible evidence or intelligence that led to the opening of this investigation. See, that's the real issue. This is really all about what President Obama knows. And obviously he knows everything. He knows everything regarding the creation of the Steele dossier, the fact that Hillary not only purchased it, but essentially purchased a FISA warrant. He knows that Hillary Clinton essentially purchased a CrowdStrike Russian hacking lie/narrative. There's no evidence for any of it. But he got Brennan, and he got Clapper, and he got Comey, and he got Admiral Rogers to go along with everything. He got the CIA, NSA, FBI chiefs, and ODNI chiefs to go along with everything. That is... It's like this gnat here. That is the reason that Democrats and media can run with this. Democrats and media can run with this because they have some kind of, even though it's completely baseless, and this is around the same level of, deceit as the WMD claims and the Gulf of Tonkin claims. Thank God in this instance, it didn't lead to World War III in a nuclear exchange between Russia and the U.S. Because the Democratic Party really doesn't care how far they push Russia, as long as they could blame Russia or hide its role in selling uranium, trying to start with a Russian reset, doing nothing during the Ukraine crisis, but pretending to be tough. So they have to appease the neoconservative ideology that's slithered through into the Democratic Party. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. It's very, very interesting. Devin Nunes is talking about, and this is all going to take place from the Inspector General report. So the Inspector General report is going to expose not only a conspiracy, because it's not, for a conspiracy to take place, you don't need Peter Strzok to speak to Nellie Orr, and Nellie Orr to speak to Christopher Steele. You don't need all of these people, or James Clapper to, call up Cody Shearer or Sidney Blumenthal. You don't need this type of conspiracy. But for a conspiracy to take place, you don't need the conspirators to all know each other or speak to each other or conspire together. You can have a whole bunch of people in different locations wanting the same goal, which is what took place here. And we're going to find out from the IG report, and Devin Nunes today foreshadowed something very, very, very interesting. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Let's get to 120,000. We're over 115. Tell your friends about this channel. And thank you so much for watching.